She's got 25 eggs in there, Zach.
The timing has to be perfect to be able to find it in this condition.
It's just wonderful to have someone interested in what you're trying to do.
A generational blessing is worth way more when it's continuously passed down.
I guess every man wants to have somebody following in his footsteps. You ready?
Grandfather and grandson, literally walking a similar path, preparing the way for new lives.
Last year we hatched out a little in excess of 500 ducklings, and we're hoping to break that record this year.
On the 8,862 acres of Cross Creeks National Wildlife Refuge in Stewart County, Mitz Bailey and his grandson Zach McCammett drive, hike, and help wood ducks.
In the 60s, we learned that the duck population had plummeted. We lumbered off the land. There weren't any trees. Wood ducks are a pretty duck, and so everybody wanted to hunt them. So between the loss of habitat and excess hunting, the numbers just plummeted. And the only thing we could do is we started to build boxes and put them up in locations so that they had a nesting site.
Situated along the Cumberland River and Barkley Lake, Cross Creek's wetlands and native vegetation help support migrating waterfowl and the abundance of wood ducks that typically choose to safely stay right here.
We've learned that if you put a box up here on Cross Creeks Refuge, it will be used by wood ducks. And while we do have some natural cavities, I think this is one refuge where we don't have an overabundance of natural cavities. So in my opinion, the wood duck box program is very important for perpetuating wood duck populations, especially local populations.
But the boxes have to be managed. It takes a lot of time. There are dozens of them and only 2 volunteers.
He's in charge.
He's the boss.
The hours they work add up, but through love and laughter, wave on wave of job enjoyment keeps them coming back.
What we're really looking for is how many eggs are in each box. Whenever there's 1 added or 2 added or 3 added, we're looking for getting an egg count before she starts setting them to hatch.
Once we know a box is active, we'll try and check it once a week. I want to know what day that hen's going to start setting the eggs, because 30 days later she'll hatch.
Because after they've hatched, it's almost impossible to get an accurate count on eggs.
Due to an abundance of waterfowl on the refuge, wood duck boxes are in short supply, and sometimes several birds use the same box. But Mitz's knowledge of the wood duck life cycle and Zach's willingness to be his trusted protege make them the perfect tag team.
If I need to stand down on the front.
Yeah, it'd help a little bit. Make sure I don't go into the water.
Okay.
Anything that he's doing, I want to be a part of it. Just because someone's getting older doesn't mean they shouldn't be able to enjoy everything they want to be able to do. And so I want to be a part of that. I want to learn everything that he has to offer, and hope to be half the man that he is one day when I get to be his age.
I think it's awesome. I love seeing it. I'm glad that Mitz has someone to help him, and Zach's a great guy too. I think he has that love for our refuge and our resources as well.
A lot of people enjoy this place, and I want to do my part to keep it that way.
It is kind of rare, you know, to have folks as dedicated as they are.
Further along than we were yesterday, but
How many look like they're hatching?
he got, I'd say at least 5 of them have good cracking.
Okay.
You
Good
can
deal.
see them starting to peck their way out.
She's going to leave the nest, and that's the times when we try and do whatever work we're going to do quickly.
We try to leave the box exactly as she left it, make sure the eggs are warm, get an accurate count on what is all hiding in the shavings or in the feathers.
And then get out of there so she can come back to the nest and check them herself.
They're hatched out.
They're hatched out and sitting there?
They're all just sitting there looking at me.
Can you get any idea of how many have hatched?
I'd say probably 90% of them did.
Did they? Now, do you see any eggs that haven't hatched?
Not off the top, no. If they did, they're buried underneath.
They count, they clean, and occasionally this grandfather and grandson have the remarkable privilege to save a life. This one little duckling didn't quite make it up and out.
He wouldn't have probably lasted 24 to 48 hours.
You don't get to see that every time you're here or even that often.
As you could hear, it was peeping as we released it, and it probably will make it to the mother, you know, and if not, to another female, because they do adopt back and forth.
It's the best gift you can get.
Also, by checking them as soon as we can find some of those and release them to the water, and that's what we do.
And even with a shortage of wood duck boxes at Cross Creeks, wise and willing management makes a way.
We'll clean that box out and hopefully get a second or even a third usage out of that box. That's where Zach comes in handy, because I'm getting up a little bit in age and he's got to do the heavy work.
Age often alters the way we see things, treasuring time and memories a little more.
My grandfather was probably one of the last of the market hunters that legally hunted. Gramps wouldn't let us shoot wood ducks. He told us what ducks we could shoot, and you best not make a mistake.
3 generations of hunters helping each other and passing on a hallowed respect for the protection and preservation of a precious species.
It's very rewarding to know that I'm making a difference and doing my part.
I'm going to keep it up as long as I can still walk and he's here.
And I'm going to keep it up as long as somebody's going to let me do it.
I'm Annette Knoll Hall on the Wild Side.